This is going to be a hard one, but we're going to get through it. I told you, win, lose, tie, draw, whatever you want to call it, any type of day of the week, I'm going to be here even on the roughest days as well. And I'm here to cover a disappointing loss against the Cincinnati Bengals. They came in at Arrowhead, not twice, but they beat us twice this year, and they're headed to the Super Bowl. But before we dive into any of that, please be sure you do subscribe to the Water Boys channel, as I'll keep you up to date on any NFL news related and rumors as well. Keep you up to date with anything Kansas City Chiefs related. Tim will be on the channel as well for the Chargers as well, like I mentioned. I just wanted to give you guys an instant reaction, my live reaction, how I'm feeling on the game, and got my thoughts calm together. I'm not angry, far from it, but, upset. It sucks when you lose the game right before the big one, but let's dive right into that. As I mentioned, the Cincinnati Bengals came into Arrowhead and took another W from Kansas City, as the final score was 27-24. They won it in OT, and I gotta say, give it up to Cincinnati. Give it up to Joe Burrow, because they made huge second half adjustments. Definitely defensive-wise, where it got into Mahomes' head. It got into the whole offense's head as well. No one was getting open. I don't want to say running lanes weren't there, because they still were, but it's like Kansas City abandoned that. And that's KC's MO. When they abandon the run, that's when they tend to struggle. Definitely when they were averaging like 6 yards a carry. It's something you don't want to abandon, definitely when you have, at that point at halftime, a 21-10 lead, and you go in. But I tweeted it, and I knew it would be crucial, and sure enough, it was as well. And it was that drive right before halftime, man. I mean, you walk away with nothing when you could have walked away with at least three. Mahomes, terrible execution. At least throw it in the end zone. And he's not known for making that type of play either, which is just really surprising as well. Threw it to Hill on the one. Hill gets tackled. There's 4 seconds left. Of course, runs out. No timeouts left. That definitely decided the game in my eyes. You can go up 28-10. That could be ball game right there. You can go up 24-10. It still can be an interesting game as well. But momentum would be so much different. It would be huge, because Casey gets the ball at half. And who knows what that deciphers after them, because Casey, of course, didn't do anything with the ball at half. They didn't do anything in the second half whatsoever. And who knows, if they score a touchdown there, maybe things are still humming and they might score another field goal touchdown, and then we're looking at a completely different ball game. But the series before half and the series after half, cost this team the game whatsoever. It gave Cincinnati the rights to boost everything up. They had momentum, and they was feeling themselves. Now, you could look at the game, and you could have watched the game completely, and Cincinnati didn't do anything too impressive. They just drove the ball down the field, and they did what they needed to do. It's like, and a lot of the times, like they say, you can't beat KC settling for field goals, but most of the time they settle for field goals, because they knew at the end of the day their defense was going to hang up and shut this team down, and they did. When you hold them to 3 points, which came to at the end of regulation as forced overtime, that defense deserves a lot, because I didn't get to see most of it, and I guess I'll go through as well, reviewing the tape and reviewing the highlights as well. It's like, no wide receivers were getting open in the second half, and I don't get it. Like, they was like obliterating, tearing up everything. Like, Hill was running all over them in the second half. The first half, and I don't think he had a catch the second half. And so was Hardman. Like, they was running both good with McKinnon and Allaire. And then it shut down. Kelsey came through in the second half, but it's like that's where I think the huge defense adjustment was that I'm going to have to see is you could tell first half they were keying in on Kelsey, and then they're like, screw that, we don't need to do that no more. Don't key in on him. Like, we'll focus squarely on Hill. He's the one who's tearing us up. And they did. And it's what held Casey to only 3 points in the second half. And I see a lot of people posting blame on, man, if Hill would have done this, if Hardman would have done this, if the Spags defense could have stopped here and there, this and this and this. But let's be real. We praise the man when he's great. We got to let him know when he's terrible. And he played an awful second half. I don't know what the hell happened. Like, it was completely different from the first half. First half, he went, 18 of 21, 3 incompletions, had over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was on his way to having a remarkable, one of the best AFC Championship games probably ever. 3 touchdowns marked with the 3 incompletions. And then second half, 13 incompletions, 2 interceptions, 30 yards passing. This is solely on him because if he makes a play that we're used to him making as well, this is a different game. Like, just one drive. You need one drive to get a touchdown. And this is a solely different game. But he was shut down every drive. I don't know what it was. You could tell. It looked like the Mahomes early season. He was uncomfortable, started forcing throws, threw an interception. Got lucky we even got the field goal because he took a 20-yard sack, fumbled the ball. Lucky the lineman was there. That, like, I knew on that drive when I saw it, I was like, don't turn the ball over. And you could just feel a turnover building up. And you knew Cincinnati was going to win this game. But I didn't want to jump too early on that as well because, man, what they did last week and him having 13 seconds, you're like, you can never count him out, no matter what type of slump he is in. But this was a slump of slumps as well. It wasn't like the Buffalo game where people felt like, oh, we're in overtime, we won the coin toss first. I wasn't feeling that, man. I wasn't. Like, at least against the Bills, it was Bills score, Chiefs score, Bills score, Chiefs score. That was tit for tat, back and forth. This was, man, I don't know if KC's going to score when they get the ball. And sure as hell, they did not. They looked terrible. When you depend on Robinson on your first 2 throws, and one, Robinson, like, would have sealed it right then and there. I guess it doesn't even matter because they still lost. But running a slant when you're supposed to run it out, almost pick 6 the other way, yeah, that's going to cost you. But it ended up being pick regardless down the road. Like I mentioned in my podcast, you guys, like, this was a huge game because all that's going to be forgotten now. What you did against Pittsburgh, blowing them out, having that being Big Ben's retirement game. That 13-second game, that's nothing now because it's followed up by a loss and not even a Super Bowl. And also, you take the Grim Reaper nickname right the fuck away just 1 week later. Like, after how terrible you played at the end of the game, like, you don't deserve it at this point. I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to be critical, but it's rightfully so. When you have a quarterback who, MVP standards, who we are already considering the GOAT, and you come out and do that, you can't. Like, you deserve, if you're going to be praised that high, the criticism has got to be that high. And yeah, coaching probably had a lot to do with this scheming, play calling as well, both offensively and defensively, but your quarterback didn't execute plays at all, and this is solely on him. It's not going to be every day I blame Mahomes. It's probably going to be once in a blue moon. But here's your blue moon. He played terrible in the second half, and he wasn't a shell of himself from the first half, which is crazy. And it's unfortunate, but this hurts Andy Reid now as well, and I don't want to say his legacy because it's cool to go to 4 straight with the Eagles. Now you go 4 straight with Kansas City, but now you're struggling to get to the big game and even win the big game as well. I'm not going to question if he's the coach for us or not. He definitely is. But it's like this offseason, there needs to be a lot to be done as well because the league changes every year, and that's what hurts most, definitely for teams who make this playoff run. For example, the Bills, the Chiefs, whoever loses, the Niners, Rams. They're going to feel it because you don't know if you'll be back here. We take it for granted so many years. Yeah, because we're here 4 straight years. You don't know if you'll be back here the 5th year. You don't know what type of injuries can plague a team next year. You don't know what happens free agency-wise. Players come and go. You don't know if Hill and Kelsey will continue this great run or if they slump finally. You got to live in the moment. And the fact that this moment is over right now truly sucks because this team had the potential to be something really huge, and it gets taken away from them another year. And we talk about dynasties and all that, and I still don't think any team has done what KC's done. I don't think any coach has done what Andy Reid's done, so you can't consider a dynasty out. They're going to be there every year. Like I say, it's hard to live in the moment, and like I basically, rebuttal on what I just said, but if Mahomes is healthy, he's going to give you a fighting chance. But you can't take it for granted that you still got the likes of a Joe Burrow who just beat you, a Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson going to come back, a Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers might come in the AFC. This thing is going to get difficult. And even though I like to say we will be there, and that's just me being a fan, you just don't know. But as well, I don't want to consider a dynasty over it, and maybe I should, because it's something we shouldn't really be looking forward to. We should really look for a progression. And right now, it's a huge regression. Definitely if you look at the past 3 years. I mean, you went from a Super Bowl win to Super Bowl loss, now AFC Championship loss. Those are both all downwards. You need to find a way to get back to the big game and winning. Key focal points I'm going to look for this offseason, I'm going to dive more further into it as well once we get there, is they need another receiving option. Like, Hardman, he plays great, and he's, playoff, he plays really good. Let's see if he can step it up again next season as well and make it a season-long thing as well. But I still think you need that other option. There's a lot of key focal points, wide receiver studs that are going to be coming out. Hopefully you can grab one of them. I say another tight end. Noah Gray got hurt as well, which was huge as well. He's kind of like your unsung hero in most of these games as well. Jody Fortson will be coming back, so hopefully those two get healthy upright. But when you lose two of them, you need to have more depth as well. Cornerback, huge, very huge. Focus on free agency and draft, and then of course your pass rush and your D-ends as well. I don't know if Frank Clark's going to be there. He didn't have that impressive playoff run. He kind of ended this stretch off in the season really good, but if he restructures, great. But at this point, I don't know if I'm willing to keep him. I have to analyze this when my head is not in an upset mood right now and view everything he's done. Right now, I'm leaning towards move away from it. But there'd be a lot of dead cap with that as well. And right now, coaching-wise, defensively, I think you need a change, man. I'm not going to say the defense played bad. They didn't play great, but they didn't play in a position to where you lost the game as well, because there was points like Cincinnati could have easily blown this game into a different direction. There were stops Casey's defense did make as well. They do got promising young studs as well. But I'm leaning towards I don't want to see Steve Spagnuolo as a defensive coordinator, man. Just overall rankings he's had this year to end the stretch in the playoffs, very poor as well. You got strong defensive coordinators out there as a Vic Fangio. I'd love to have him as D coordinator. May not be the greatest coach, but even in Denver as a coach, he gave us fits. We've had struggles, even though we beat them consecutively so many times. That's what's holding this team back from being not even a legit contender, but where no one can beat us. If we had a defense that we could fight for every down, even when the offense struggled, we'd be right. But again, that's not what happened in this game. The offense just never showed up in the second half, so I don't want to put too much blame on the defense, because Snead made a pick when it needed to be done, and it was midfield, and Mahomes couldn't do anything right after that. And Bolton made key plays. If he would have made a pick, that would have been nice too when it's sliding on the ground. But again, we probably wouldn't have scored then. Cincinnati's defense just showed up in the second half, and key adjustments. I love what the team's doing. I'm going to be rooting for them. I hope they win the Super Bowl. Because Joe Burrow, he deserves it. And like I said, they'll be in the same type of look as well. If they don't win it this year, it's damn, we got to go through Kansas City again, or a Buffalo as well. And this is going to be hard to do year in and year out. That's why you got to live for this moment right now, because everything changes. But it's going to be interesting. I know Chiefs Kingdom is hurting on this because, man, we've had some hard playoff losses, and this is nothing different. We had a hard playoff loss in 03. I'm going to go through the line again because now you got to add it there, and that's what's on my mind. 03, the no punt game. Peyton Manning outdueled us. Hell of a game. Did what he needed to do. I remember Jamal Charles broke an early run against the Ravens. The Ravens completely stopped us and shut us out. Then we'll go to the Andrew Luck game. He was up double digits, more than double digits. I want to say, 24, 28? End up blowing that one, losing 45-44. Let's go to fucking Tennessee. I don't know if it's the right order, but Tennessee, the Marcus Mariota game, the catch of his, ridiculous. And he ends up winning that game against us. And then the no touchdown game against the Steelers. They beat us straight off field goals. It's ridiculous. And now you can add this one. The biggest margin of deficit opponent has won in a playoff game. It's tied, but they did it. Up 21-3 KC was. Should never happen. Never happen. Definitely with the offense as explosive as what we have, you should be able to rebound and score again. And it's unfortunate they weren't able to do that. Definitely on your home field. I was so amazed at the start of the game as well, because that stadium was filled. You could look everywhere, and there was not an empty seat. And there was Bengal fans there, but not that many. So Joe Cool, he lived up to it, man. He said, hey, no stadium phases me. He said, I played in the ACC, and it's true. Those stadiums are crazy over there as well. And, man, I'm excited for a Super Bowl still. It's unfortunate we won't be in there, but you can't win them all, unfortunately. It is what it is at this point. hopefully we're back, man. Hopefully Mahomes rebounds, because that's definitely a sour note. You ended off at a sour note last year where not a lot of people were blaming you as well, was the O-line, and now you collapse with this, and you got to live a whole offseason with this. And then it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be fun to see. But let me know down below. The Rams and Niners going at it right now. I'm not too much into it. I'll probably catch it at the end once I start winding down. But let me know who you have winning that game. Let me know how you feel the Super Bowl will turn out. And, hey, it's going to be interesting offseason. I'm in that mode already. But, of course, I will give you Super Bowl coverage. I will also tune back in as well from the Niners and Rams and give you my recap and then give you a little insight of the Super Bowl preview as well. But with that being said, thank you guys for checking into my instant reaction. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Like this video, even though I don't like it whatsoever. And, hey, I will check back in with you guys shortly. Y'all take care and enjoy the rest of your playoff Sunday.